This is a special free agency edition of the All49ers Roundtable. I'm Grant Cohn. That's Jack Hammer, Maverick Pallack, and today Jose Sanchez is reporting live from a submarine or somewhere very, very, very far away. So we're going to do our best to hear him. Hey, how you doing, Jose?
Hey, how's it going?
You sound fantastic. There you are. We have about 45 minutes today. We're going to go kind of like lightning round status today. Free agency starts in 4 days unofficially. So let's go through the Niners' top 8 free agents and make this. This is just a prediction episode. We're going to make nothing but predictions. Who stays? Who goes? Who will the Niners poach? And will they make any trades? Start with who stays, who goes? Trent Williams. Is he in? Is he out? Make your prediction. Say why. Who wants to go first?
I think he's gone. Gone. He's gone just because this is really his last payout, right? His value is finally at an all-time high. He's coming off like not of an all-pro like level, like God, he's one of the best out there, but he's definitely like very top tier. It's someone that plenty of teams out there, like the Colts, for example. That's everyone ever keeps throwing out. Oh, look, Costanzo's out. And the Colts are in win now mode. They have perfect salary cap space to give him the money that will entice him, and that's a team that he wants to compete with. When I wrote those articles this week about Trent Williams, I went back to those exit interviews to listen exactly what he's saying, and he's just like he certainly didn't want to show any of his hand really much of what was going on. But one thing he did mention when some of the reporters kept asking him, do you think there's a way you could take a discount? Because salary cap has been hit this year, and he's like, well, there was plenty of ways to actually make it work. So for sure, that's like saying like, hey, don't expect me to take a discount because this team, there's a way to make it work. Give me my money. And then for sure, I will bark up the right tree, is what he said on the Chris Collinsworth's podcast. So I just think he's gone just because I don't think the 49ers are going to commit that high sum of money to him. And I just don't think they will. They don't just see him maybe like going forward for the next year or two going that type of route.
I was pretty confident that he was gone, but I'm slowly leaning back toward maybe by the end of the weekend that it will look better. I think the more left tackles that are cut, that does help the 49ers because some teams might choose to spend their money elsewhere and fill the left tackle hole elsewhere. But I still think Trent Williams is going to get $20 million per year minimum. And if the Niners are willing to do that, go ahead. But as of right now, I'm going to say he's gone.
I'm going to say that Trent Williams is going to stay, despite what I really think they should do. I think the Niners are going to overpay to keep him. And right now, I think he probably has an offer on the table, and he's just waiting to see if somebody's going to come and beat it. So I'm going to say stay for Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with Jack. The way he was talking made it sound like he has an offer on the table that he likes. And like he told Richard Sherman what it was before they went on the podcast. Like, hey, man, Richard's like, what are they offering you? Oh, they got this. Like, wow, really? That's pretty good. Yeah, man, but I'm going to keep my options open, see what happens. He kind of talks like he's Matthew McConaughey, Trent Williams. He's got that real slow talk. Yeah, see what happens. He's a very confident guy. I think that's how he's playing it. He probably expects to go back to the Niners, but you never know what will happen. Most years, he would get the huge deal from someone else, but the cap going down this year, there may not be enough. It's not going to be that much money going around. So maybe a team won't outbid the 49ers. It does seem like he's their top priority and someone that is in the clique. So the Niners will give him the money. I don't know. What do you think?
You don't think that's leverage that he mentions that? Like all the 49ers are the favorites and stuff like that. It's definitely like he's playing like the median, like, hey, both sides. So that way, if he signs, like, hey, they're always in the running, and that way, like he signs elsewhere, it's like, hey, they were the favorites, but they couldn't. So he's in the perfect spot to play either way. He ends up
one way or another. He's getting paid. All right, stay or go, Jason Verrett.
Verrett's gonna. I'm going to say Verrett's going to stay as well. Those are the two guys. Verrett's a guy I think they like, and they're going to, even though he's had an injury history, they have such a need at corner. I think they're going to keep him.
I think Verrett is going to stay. I think I've been harping on the Chris Harris contract from last year, and I think that's just something that would make sense with Verrett. 2 years, $17 million. First year, Chris Harris's contract was 6.5 on the cap, and then this year it's 11.25. If Verrett can get something similar to that, where the salary cap is going to go up a lot more next year, where they can get that to be the bigger cap hit, backloaded, that'd be a good deal in my opinion. Verrett, 2 years, $17 million. I think that's a win for both parties.
Yeah, Verrett wouldn't shock me if he stays, but I think he's gone. Unlike Williams, if he stays, I feel like it'd be a little surprise to me. But Verrett, I just feel like his same type of reason. You know, he hasn't had that contract where, hey, I can get paid as a high level guy, and he kind of got that robbed with his injuries. You know, right now is the best time for him to cash in, especially if he thinks that, hey, I've had this bad luck. You know, what if my luck doesn't? What if this is it? This is it, because in case I keep getting injured again in the future, what if this is my last chance to get some type of deal? So, but I can see a situation where he resigns with the 49ers, and it's like, wow, that's all he got. And it's like, wow, well, sure enough, because his market feels like still the most bleak to me.
Yeah. To me, I feel like the Niners are okay letting him go. Like Trent Williams is talking like a guy who's got a real nice offer on the table and has got good options. Jason Verrett kind of sounds like, hey, I haven't heard much. You know, we'll see. I think the Niners are okay losing him. He was never part of their future plans. They took a flyer on him. He worked out, but they're not majorly invested in him. And if he left, oh well. I don't know what the hell their plan is in the secondary, but I assume they have one, and I'm not sure he's in it. So I think there's probably if they do go hard after Trent Williams, they'll probably lose Jason Verrett as a result. If they can get both of them, wow, that would be really amazing. But I don't think they're that clever. I don't think they're that clever. So I think he's going to go. Next one. Kyle Juszczyk, in or out, stay or go? Jose.
I wish he would stay because I love watching this guy play. I mean, you, Grant, have just been saying, use him the right way. But he think he's gone, man. I listened to him when he hopped on Middlecoff's and Haberman's podcast, and it just sounded like this guy sounds like he knows he's gone. Dude, like he wants to stay, but it's like, hey, he's probably gone. He's probably with Kyle and Cabo, and Kyle probably told him straight up, like, hey, we're not resigning you, bro. This is just the reality. So I think that certain teams that, like, you know, maybe the Jets, because he's similar in the offense. So there's a lot of Kyle Shanahan offenses out there now that he could probably fit into, and they can probably pay him a decent amount of money, especially usage, because I think usage is a big thing, and he knows this past season he wasn't utilized as much or made enough impact. So I think he's pretty much sayonara.
I think Juszczyk can be brought back, and I think they should bring him back unless they find someone in the draft that they know can take on that role. Tommy Tremble is the guy I think that would be able to do it, not to Juszczyk's level, but could handle it. And I talk about the numbers mostly, but I think 2 years, 2 years, 11 million, 3 years, 14 million, I think could get it done. It's hard to really gauge Juszczyk because he'll get like pretty good tight end money, and he's the top fullback. You can't really compare him to other fullbacks in terms of money, but I think that kind of contract would get him back, unless he's just set on going back to the East Coast, which I know that's where his family's from, so he might just want to go there no matter what.
Yep.
That would change everything. But if he's willing to come back to the offense he's familiar with and would get the workload that we think he should get, then it'd be a good signing.
Imagine him in Buffalo.
Yeah, I think Juszczyk's going to go somewhere else, and I think he's going to be. If everything you hear him say sounds like he's going to end up on the East Coast with a contender out that way. So Jose just said it right there. If Buffalo's looking for a fullback, that'd be a perfect spot for him to go because I think he's from that area too. Up in the Northeast. So that would be. I think he's going to be a goner.
Him and Dabo will be nice.
Yeah, I think the only free agent that the Niners are going to make a very competitive offer for is Trent Williams. It almost feels like the opposite of last year. Mm-hmm. Last year, like the Niners were like, should we give our best guy, Buckner, all this money or keep everyone else? And they were like, keep everyone else. This year, they're like, should we keep Trent Williams or everyone else? Trent Williams, definitely going to keep. So I feel like they're going to be pursuing Trent Williams and giving him quarterback money. They're going to lose some guys along the way. Kyle Juszczyk being one of them. I feel like Jets would be a good one. The Bills, you guys already laid it out. There's going to be some team that prioritizes him, and the Niners are going to say, we like you, man, but we're really, really focused on Trent Williams now. Sorry. So I agree. I think Kyle Juszczyk is a goner. About Kendrick Bourne.
I think Bourne's going to be a goner too. I think the Jets would be a perfect spot for him. I think they have so much room that they're going to be able to offer him more than the Niners would, and they need a receiver, and he'd be a perfect fit for them.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Muted.
My bad. Had to fix my headphone when I wasn't on the screen, so I muted myself. But I think Bourne is going to be gone because I think he's going to get good money, and I don't think the 49ers should spend much on free agent wide receivers. I think there's a lot of good receivers in this draft that maybe won't have the 15, 16 game capability of Bourne, that Bourne's going to be on the field always, but will be able to make an impact. And I think they got to go cheaper with that third wide receiver.
And thinking about Bourne, especially the way me and you, Jack, I think we really think he's going to go to the Jets. It kind of makes me another question we should ask another time. Over under 49er free agents, the Jets sign, you know, because it feels like it's like over 3 or something like that. Because Bourne's gone, and you know the draft's perfect. You know, we've all like thought about that. You know, we know Bourne's an efficient receiver. He doesn't deserve as much criticism as he is warranted in some of the views of the fans give him. But I just think like, you know, he's good for a nice payout. It's gonna be, he was getting paid what, like 3.2, 3.7 like that. He's gonna make like almost double of that. And I mean, it's just the only way I can see him back is because it is also a loaded free agent wide receiver class. So maybe he's like, you know, let me just get a slight pay raise. Let me just stay here because I'm a wide receiver 3. So, but ultimately I'm gonna verdict is gone.
I think he'd be perfect for the Jets. You guys said it, but Mike LaFleur has coached him every year of his career. He was the Niners wide receiver coach. He kind of developed Kendrick Bourne, and they could bring him in the same way the Niners brought in Pierre Garçon in 2017 to be a reliable possession receiver, but also to sort of vouch for the coaching staff, to tell the incumbents like these guys are really good. You should listen, and to set the tone in the locker room with his professionalism and work ethic, all of that. He seems like he would be kind of a Pierre Garçon type.
Miles Austin is the wide receivers coach as well there in the Jets. So
easy. All right, let's go to the defense. Kerry Hyder, stay or go?
I think the 49ers are going to make a strong run to keep him. I think that Mav put together a really good article on that earlier this week, and he really convinced me. I like Hyder. I didn't think the 49ers could keep him, but the more and more you look at where they are salary cap wise, I think they're going to be able to to make a move that's going to keep him.
Yeah, I definitely think they need to bring Hyder back just because I think they need that consistent second rusher. So one, Eric Armstead can move inside on passing downs, because we saw against Dallas, he can make an impact on the inside a lot. And if you have Kerry Hyder on the outside alongside Nick Bosa, you get a consistent guy that can also defend the run. And I know we think he might get a lot more money, but I kind of look at what Emmanuel Ogbah got last year, and that was 2 years, $15 million from going from Kansas City to Miami. So that'd be 7.5 per year. I kind of said maybe 6.5 to 7 for Kerry Hyder. And if he wants to really bet on himself and get that big payday, maybe he takes a 1 year, $8 million deal and knows that the salary cap is going up next year and can cash in on that with 2 consistent years, kind of what Shaq Barrett did coming back for a year. And now he's going to get a big payday.
Yeah, I've always said he's gone, but you know, same thing with Maverick. I think he's starting to convince me that way. I could see him definitely staying on board because Chris Kaseric's probably going to pound the table for him since he was the main reason he became a 49ers anyways. And plus, they definitely need someone with some production that's going to return into the core next year. You know, you got Bosa, sure, but Ford's still a question mark. So Bosa, Hyder, and I still think they're probably going to dip their hands, whether it's the draft or free agency, for another depth for the pass rush. So it's almost like, all right, cool, you let him go, and like you don't want to pay him that much, but you know, would you rather re-sign him and you know what he can do, you know how he fits, or would you rather go dip in the stranger pool and just try to see if someone else, just because he's a bigger name, if he fits? So I definitely am starting to lean towards he's going to stay, but seeing him go would not be surprised at all.
I don't know if they'll give him like a starter contract. They may give him like a nice backup offer, but if he can go get money to be a starter somewhere else, he's not young. I mean, I know he's tried to leave Chris Kaseric in the past and failed, but I don't know. If the Niners don't offer him much and some team blows him out of the water, I think he'd go. That being said, maybe teams look at what happened the last time he went away from Chris Kaseric and say, you know what, Kerry, you just stay with the Niners. It's got something good going on over there. Seems realistic that they could bring him back and not have to give too much money and even be able to bring him off the bench, which was their idea for having him last year anyway.
Yeah, when you look at some of the deals that have been given out already right now, they look like they're a little bit lower than you would normally expect these guys to be getting too. So that could help play into the 49ers' favor with a guy like Hyder.
Yeah, that only makes sense with the cap going down. Also, you're not going to see these like outrageous record-setting contracts like you do every year. Why would you? Makes sense.
Right. That's why I think the 1 year deal route is good for a lot of these guys, because the salary cap will go up so high. So not just Hyder, but even who we're, I think, talking about next, Tartt and other guys like that, where you go 1 year and get that big contract next.
Way to ruin the suspense, Maverick. Thank you.
You put it up already. You put it up.
Oh, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Jaquiski Tartt, stay or go?
He's gone. I just think he's actually going to get a decent amount of money. Like we were just talking right now, he's probably not going to get cashed out like as we thought he would have on like a normal year. But I just think the 49ers are just tired of just injury-prone players at this point. You know, he's a solid safety, you know, really good. And I'm sure they would want him back, of course. But it's like, you know, they really have to just wake up and be like, you know what, this guy just misses always a handful of games every year. And we already have a nice, like, decent depth with Tavarius Moore, Marcel Harris over there. And if anything, we could just probably sign another flyer or draft another player if we have to, if we see it need be on like a mid-round type of situation. But I think he's gone. You know, I just don't see them wanting to invest any more in him, especially now they have Jimmy Ward, who's also another safety that misses a decent amount of time sometimes.
Yeah, I really like Jaquiski Tartt, but I just don't know if you can give him that much money because he's one of the better safeties available, and I think he's worthy of $6+ million a year, and I think they are better served to dedicate that money toward K1 Williams, where they have no replacements on the roster, unless you're counting Jared Maiden as the replacement, then they do. And then Kyle Juszczyk, no replacements on the roster. Ben Garland, they need a center. I think they'd be better served to use that money there than Tartt, because Tavarius Moore and Marcel Harris Marcel Harris was brought back for a reason. It's probably to be that third safety. And I don't know if they would have Tavarius Moore and Marcel Harris as third safeties on the roster.
Yeah, I think Tartt's a goner. He's basically the Jimmy Garoppolo of the defense. He's good when he's healthy, but he's never healthy. He only plays about half the time. Then I think it's time for him to move on. But like I said, he's really good when he's on there, but he's just hurt too much.
It's like a guarantee. Guarantee to be gone.
He's a better fit for another team that hasn't taken a bunch of injury risks like the Niners have the last 4 years. The Niners have to like say no to injury risk players like Jaquiski Tartt. They have to get off. They have an addiction. They have a problem. And a good place to start would be to not re-sign Jaquiski Tartt and bring in someone who can play 16 games a year. Better for someone else to take that risk. Agreed. How about Ahkello Witherspoon? Stay or go?
I would like to see Witherspoon stay. I think he's a really good player, but I don't think he's going to be back. I think he's another guy that's going to leave. He's one of the guys I think is going to probably have a really good destination in New York. I think that's going to be his next stop.
I think if they bring back Jason Verrett, which I think that I said that they should, if they do, then I don't think Ahkello Witherspoon comes back. But if Jason Verrett signs elsewhere, I think they kind of have to grab Ahkello Witherspoon. Otherwise, they need to spend that first round pick on J.C. Horn or something like that, because Ahkello Witherspoon's been inconsistent in his career. I think this is the best way to say what Witherspoon has been so far. But a lot of those middle ground cornerbacks last year signed 1 year, $3 million deals. And with the pandemic going on and the lowered salary cap, or not lowered salary cap, but it didn't rise as much as people wanted, a 1 year, $2.5 million deal with Ahkello Witherspoon, I think is definitely worth the flyer.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely gone. If Jaquiski Tartt's my number one and Trent Williams my number two, he's number three, as he's good as gone. I've already been saying he's with the Jets as soon as free agency, as soon as all this talk started in January. Not just because it's like it doesn't matter if the 49ers consider to bring him back. I don't think he wants to come back because I think he's tired of what he went through. I think he's like, hey, it's cool here, but all this drama, all this whatever, that's all the up and down with the favorites, being in the doghouse, being not in the doghouse is probably just fed up with him. And he knows that the system, the real propeller that led him to actually being good again was Robert Saleh. So it just makes too much sense for him just to leave, flip the page, and just keep going to where he knows really made him the corner that he can play up to.
He may feel that way now, and he may feel bitter at the way the Niners treated him. But if the Niners make him a real good offer in free agency, he may change the way he feels about them and the way he thinks they look at him. And, I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners make a stronger run at Witherspoon than Verrett, because they drafted Verrett with the third-round pick. That's a big investment. They spent 4 years developing him. Jason Verrett was just, found money. They can easily say goodbye to him. Ahkello Witherspoon's still young. He has rare athleticism for a 6'3" dude. I could see them bringing him back, making him a pretty competitive offer, and maybe the Jets make him one too. But if it's not that much better, there's still high taxes in New Jersey. Plus, Ahkello Witherspoon's from Sacramento. Not a lot of these players are from out here, and sometimes you like to. Eric Armstead wanted to sign here. He's from Sacramento, so I wouldn't be surprised if Ahkello Witherspoon comes back, just because Kyle Shanahan might want him. That's his third-round pick, and he doesn't like admitting when he's wrong. He might be right on Ahkello Witherspoon. I don't know. All right, last player. Unless you guys had something else to say.
I think Witherspoon needs to go to a team that he's going to be able to play a lot of man coverage because he struggles when he's playing off. So just depends on how much.
I don't even. Is that going to be the Niners? I have no idea what D'Amico Ryan's.
Exactly, you have no idea with Ryan's.
K1 that's another thing. Hold on, we don't know what they're going to do in their secondary. They might have an entirely new philosophy back there, so they kind of have. It's hard to even project what their plan is because we don't know what their philosophy is. K'Wan Williams, stay or go, last player.
Gone as well. I just the injuries. Another player. Richard Sherman. Everyone's pretty much brought up at this point. He's from that New York, New Jersey area. Go to Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh might be most. It's to me. It's always been K'Wan Williams, Ahkello Witherspoon, and I think I've even thrown. No, who was the defensive player? Well, those are the top two players I believe that Robert Saleh is going to target the most, because Witherspoon, solid man coverage guy that he knows he can get out the most out of, and K'Wan Williams, having him just be just a floater defender wherever he wants to on his blitzes, some run support, cover a guy. He can kind of do it all, and he could probably get him for a decent price, and K'Wan can go home. Not saying he wouldn't come back to the 49ers, because like Jack said, they don't really have a backup option there. But I just think maybe this his injuries or the way he's been done it, and they already knew how to operate without him last year. I just think he's to the Jets just makes most sense to me.
It does make sense he goes to the Jets because Brian Poole, I believe, was their slot guy last year, and he's a free agent. And so they have that hole there where they can easily fill it with K'Wan Williams. And as I was saying before, there's a lot of guys that are above on the order, what Richard Sherman was saying during the season, where there's more important guys they have to sign at this time. So he could see him not coming back. I think that holds true with K'Wan Williams. I think you got to address outside corner before you address the slot, in my opinion. At least one position. If Emmanuel Mosley is going to be one of the starters, then okay, that's fine. Then you can look at K'Wan Williams. But I think K'Wan Williams is going to get $5.5, $6 million, and that's a deal for his impact when he's on the field. But if you don't want to pay $6 million for a guy that misses a couple games each year, then you can't.
Williams is the guy the 49ers, this regime really liked. He was one of the first guys they brought in.
It's not the first.
Yeah, he was right there with Juszczyk. So, but I think he's going to be gone. I think he's going to go get more money somewhere else, and they're going to be looking to get a little bit younger at that position too. So I think he's going to be gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a Trent Williams cap casualty. If they're going to spend all that money on Trent Williams and Jimmy Garoppolo, they can't sign these mid-level free agents like K'Wan Williams. He's going to have to go. That's the way it is. And if you wonder, like, why do the Niners have 7 day 3 draft picks this year? Well, they're going to need a lot of depth on this team. They have a lot of free agents, a lot of guys leaving that they can't re-sign, and maybe that's a good thing because the Niners have become a pretty old team. Fine. Well, they do need a lot of draft picks, and that's why they have them. All right, 2 more topics. Other teams are going to have to let people go. Other teams are already cutting people. There were some cuts this morning, cuts yesterday. Which cap casualties do you think the Niners will sign, if any?
I'm going to follow up with that last question. I'm going to go with Justin Coleman, who's just released today. He's a younger nickel cornerback that can come in. He's going to be a little bit more on the expensive side, but if you give him a 3 or 4 year deal, you can really kind of structure that so that it's not that big of a hit in 2021, and that would be a smart move for them, I think.
One guy I'm interested in, and this is just if they aren't going first round tackle and they go quarterback in the first round, and they're sticking with Jimmy Garoppolo and miss out on Trent Williams. I'm intrigued. I don't think Riley Reif is the best left tackle in the NFL. I don't even know if he's top 10 in the NFL, but a 1 year, $6-7 million deal where he gets to rebuild his value and take advantage of a bigger salary cap next year. The 49ers get that 1 year stopgap where they can either address left tackle later in the draft or go after a free agent next year. I think there's a lot of talented guys in next year. Eric Fisher is a guy that people like, but that Achilles, I don't even know if he'll play this year. So I think Riley Reif would be a small consolation prize, not a prize, but a small consolation if you lose Trent Williams in free agency.
Yeah, I'm thinking more like the guard standpoint a little bit, like the Giants released Kevin Zeitler, if I'm saying it right. And there's another guard that got released, I believe, too, as well.
Gabe Jackson did.
Gabe Jackson.
Gabe Jackson, I don't think Gabe Jackson would fit because he's more vertical, not horizontal, in my opinion. But, I mean, you know what? Why not? That wouldn't be someone bad. Or even, didn't Kyle Long come out? That could be someone that the 49ers want to sniff around. I mean, that could be something that they want to look at. I mean, there's a bunch of guards they could probably think of putting. And Maverick talked about Trent Williams' replacement. Well, boom, Daniel Brunskill come to left tackle, and we can sign a veteran guard of some sort. So I think that's something they would really consider. Laken Tomlinson, how strongly do they feel about him? But they definitely got to get that interior figured out.
Yeah, I think Eric Fisher would be really interesting for them, even though he has the Achilles, as someone they could get for maybe a vet minimum and bring along slowly because he is pretty good when healthy. But that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking a prediction, and I'm going to make a prediction here. Not what they should do, what they will do. I think they're going to go after Emmanuel Sanders. I think that Kyle loves Emmanuel Sanders, loves him.
Yeah.
And I think it pained him to let him go, and now he's going to be cheaper. And there's already a rapport there. I think Emmanuel Sanders. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely 100% think that's definitely something that he's going to want to at least want to touch on for sure.
That'd be great. You get him back, plus you get a draft pick for him for losing him last year. That'd be perfect for the 49ers.
Bingo. Yeah. Quarterback will be a robot with Kyle's brain in a jar. Maybe one day. How do I get on the Cohn call when you do them? I just drop a little link in the thing and you click on it and then you're on. So I will do it in the thing. You do a little thing.
And the thing, man.
And the thing right there. All right, last topic. According to a rock solid source online, guy who said Mike McGlinchey, interest from the Colts in a trade. I mean, it seems kind of plausible. They have Quentin Nelson and a hole at left tackle. Quentin Nelson was Mike McGlinchey's teammate in college. Will the 49ers trade Mike McGlinchey this offseason? Why or why not? Prediction time.
If they re-signed Trent Williams, it would make 100% sense for them to trade McGlinchey, get another first-round pick if they can, or maybe even a second-round pick that they can use to trade up. No, they probably can't get a first. They'd probably be a second.
Hell no.
But they can get a second or a third for sure, I think, for him. And then on top of that, you go draft Rashawn Slater, and you got two really good tackles. So I could see them making that move if Williams is coming back. That's where I could see them taking that call and wanting to do that deal.
I don't know if they can get a day 2 pick for McGlinchey, but if they could, I'd jump at that opportunity. But I think if they did trade him, it would be a post-June trade because the cap savings, you get 3 or a pre-June trade if you can work that out. But I think it just makes more sense post-June because I don't know if anyone would be willing to trade this year's draft pick for him. If there was a team interested, I totally understand it being Indianapolis because the Quentin Nelson familiarity, and he's a decent run blocker, and it seems like they're going to go run first, hopefully, with Jonathan Taylor, not go guns a-blazing with Carson Wentz. But it makes sense they'd be interested in McGlinchey if they can get him for cheap, definitely.
Guns a-blazing.
Guns a-blazing. No, there's absolutely no way they're going to trade Mike McGlinchey, not this offseason, because it doesn't want to – if they do that, then Kyle Shanahan's going to say, hey, we whiffed on this pick. And it's different than DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner was actually elite, and he was going to get paid out. So their excuse, hey, we could have, we couldn't pay him, so let's spread out the cash, draft capital, so on and so forth. But McGlinchey, how much draft capital are you going to get back? Is it even going to be significant? Not really. And now you're left with even a deeper hole than you already were with McGlinchey. And on top of that, you pretty much just say, well, we messed up that 9th overall pick. So at least if they run it back and he turns out to be good, raises the value, then maybe you can entertain it. But at that point, I feel like they're even going to pick up their 5th option. What about that if you want to add a 6th? I think they're going to pick it up in terms of they want to control it. I'm not saying I want them to do it or that they should do it. I think they would do it.
Look, I think here's the thing. The only reason I'm going to give him more of the benefit of the doubt is because Rashawn Slater exists. That guy's really good. I think they know it, and he might be there at 12, and that might be their plan. Maybe the Niners don't want to take a quarterback. Maybe the Niners want to just trade 43 for Sam Darnold or take a quarterback at 43, and Slater's their guy, and they will re-sign Trent Williams, and they'll have the 2 tackles they really want and be like, you know what, McGlinchey, we tried. Now we upgraded. Good luck. We're going to move you. I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to trade him. They know he sucks. I'm sorry. I know he stinks. He stinks.
Is he going to pick up his 5th year option? What do you guys think?
I wrote about that yesterday. If they're going to, I would rather them not pick up that 5th year option because if they do, that's a guaranteed contract. So they lose flexibility. So
what do you think they're going to do, Jack?
I think what they should do is that they should extend him this offseason because then they can manipulate the cap hit for next year better than doing the 5th year option route.
But they can get Slater, though, and get a quarterback. Oh, that'd be nice because Slater is – Jack and I watched him. He's fantastic. It's really good. Yeah. He's what they were hoping McGlinchey would be. Good against the run. With the run and the pass.
Is that sweet? Wasn't it like 2 or 3 weeks ago? Like there was like some question? Oh, you guys didn't really look the film on him that hard yet, huh?
I hadn't seen him. Is he too small? No, he's really good.
Yeah, fantastic. 2 weeks. Yeah, you're right, Jose. A couple weeks ago, I had mentioned his arm length. I thought it might be an issue, but then I was able to watch him on film and really dig into it. You don't see it. You see him he manhandles Chase Young 2 times against him.
What? 2 times.
Nice.
Back-to-back years. He's really good. He's really good. Yep. And he just ran a 4.8, so he's got the athleticism that they're looking for, that Tristan Wirfs has, that Trent Williams has. Yeah, he'd be a home run pick at 12. And if they get him, then goodbye, Mike McGlinchey. Thanks for everything. We just moved up. We upgraded to a deluxe apartment in the sky. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Only Jack got that reference. Anyway,
when you look at the what they can trade, remember Carson Wentz deal cost Philadelphia their 3rd round pick, so it's either going to be a 2nd or a 4th, and I don't think the Flyers would go for a 4th, so it's that's why it might be a 2nd.
Good point. Good point. That's the show. That's the All 49ers Roundtable. There will be no Roundtable tomorrow. We're taking a brief break because Maverick got to do stuff.
You're suspended because you lost because you got caught cheating for sure. That's why.
That's true. I'm suspended. That's true. But I'll be back on doing something.
Thanks so
suspension? Much. I take full responsibility for my actions. Thanks everyone. I will see you tomorrow.